Hey everybody. I am speaking with my good friend Tim Abraham. He's an incredible mix engineer, producer. He records, he plays every instrument, I think, I'm pretty sure. He writes music. He's just one of these guys that does everything. And he's based in Toronto, like me, and he's just moved spaces. How long ago was it, Tim, that you moved to your new spot?
Well, I finished renos in finished renos in December. You know, there's still lots of odds and ends and stuff like that, but we kind of did that through the fall, and I've been rolling here for a couple of months.
Cool. I have yet to see it myself in person because we finished Out of Dust at your last location. And just to give people a bit of a background, you and
We actually finished. We finished a couple of tunes here because
oh,
Ben was, yeah.
that's right. That's right. Because there's always some stragglers.
Yeah.
And by the way, I want to just tell people that if they hear some riveting piano playing in the background, that's my 9-year-old son. So anyway, you and I met a long time ago, and you actually reminded me of this because you mixed my last record, the self-titled album that came out in 2018, and I feel like we've done a couple of things over the years, but what I hadn't remembered was that, like, how many years ago we met to work on something that you were doing for Huntley Street.
Yeah, I was just engineering that. I think I recorded. Craig Douglas was composing it, if I remember correctly, and we just recorded it at my previous studio called The Hive.
Right. So you and I technically go way back, but the first time that we really worked together in depth was on my last record. And I'll tell you, you may know this already, but I want to tell everybody that Ben and I searched far and wide for the right mix engineer for that project. Ben mixes albums himself, and he's very, very picky when it comes to sonics. And we wanted somebody who could take what is jazz material to a large degree and give it kind of a fresh contemporary sound that would help the music, kind of stack up alongside some of the pop hits that are out there, even though, obviously my music, I'm not writing pop hits. And that's not the intended, outcome. So it's creative music, but we did want it to have that kind of commercial value, for lack of a better word. And we just love what you do. And I've had so many musicians here in Toronto, but also like across Canada, and actually a number of people in New York City. My friend Celise Henderson, who's been touring with Lizzo, and then most recently Glenn Pacha, who plays B3 on the record, and he's recorded with like everybody, Sheryl Crow. He's working with Bonnie Raitt right now. And these musicians hear this stuff and they go, who mixed it? So I would love you to give us some insight into your process, because it's certainly different than anything that I've experienced and that Ben has experienced. So yeah, tell us what you can about, how you do what you do.
Sure. I mean, I thank you for that. That's lovely.
Yeah.
I've loved working with you and Ben too, because you have this great combo of really picky, but also you give me tons of latitude to mess your record up really badly.
Yeah, we love it.
One of my goals with working with you has always been to take, because you record a lot of it live off the floor, and then with some really creative overdubs and things like that. But you always take, like, I'll send back the first draft and it's really messed up. I'm trying to make it sound not like a jazz record.
You always shock us. You always shock us.
Yeah, exactly. So, and you've been really graciously not firing me for that. So.
Oh, we love it. We love it. And we always come around. And I mean, in a way, that's like what makes you so special, right? But go on.
Yeah, well, it's one of the things I try to do with mixing is mixing can be such a mind screw, and you can just get in your own head really easily. So I've kind of my whole process is designed about trying to work really quickly and not spend more than a couple hours at any given time on one particular song, so I can kind of keep coming back to it and hear it like a civilian again. And
Yeah, your fatigue is a real thing. So
yeah, and also just, it's really easy to just, when you spend too long on it, you get so enamored with your own cleverness, oh, these are cool or crazy effects on things, and just this cool thing. I need to like forget what I actually did, for me to come back and hear it for real again and be like, wow, I went overdid that, or I could push that a little bit further, or whatever. But once I kind of cleanse my palate with another song or two or three, when I come back to it, I open it up and I've forgotten what I've done, so I can hear it again and make tweaks. So really, my process is designed around moving quickly through songs and not spending too long on one thing, kind of cycling through the record a number of times, doing different tasks. So I love sonics. I love analog toys and
yeah,
old tube EQs and that kind of stuff. But I start mixing all digital, and I have my assistant kind of set up the mix. I've got a general template and kind of rough stuff in, so I can hear it kind of as roughed in right away. I don't spend the first hour or two with something doing a bunch of grunt work. So I can kind of just walk in the morning and it's ready to go, and I blast through, try to get into that, like, I don't know if it's alpha wave or beta wave, maybe beta wave brain state where
alpha
it's
waves, alpha
alpha wave.
waves, like the
Yeah, there
song.
you are. Alpha wave, which is an amazing arrangement. I love that. It's so I try to get into that state and just not really think too much, and just not have to think about technical stuff. Everything's kind of sitting there ready for me, and I can just blast through it. And really, like, the first hour and a half I spend with a tune is probably like 90% of the good ideas that come in. And after that, maybe I spend 8 or 10 hours total on a song, maybe more. But it's all, after that, it's all kind of just tightening bolts and getting things to translate well. But all the really creative ideas tend to happen right off the bat the first time I'm sitting down and hearing the song. And so I start all digital, and I've got my whole analog rig uh, mirrored with the digital versions or emulations of the same hardware, so I can kind of start, and I know that once I kind of get all that creative work done and moving quickly, I can then kind of go through the record a couple times doing that, and then later really focus on just sweetening up the sonics and getting everything really, really banging and tight.
I love it. One of the things that I think, and you alluded to this, makes you special. And we had this experience with Sean Everett as well, another amazing engineer. He's Canadian, also now based in LA. He engineered the Alabama Shakes record. And you guys are actually, while your approach sonically is different, there are some things that make you very similar. And I think that's why we love you both. You do take kind of a compositional approach to the music where you're not afraid to get in there and make some decisions that can actually totally alter how a song, like the structure of a song or the arrangement even, to actually increase its impact. And while Ben and I, occasionally it's taken us a minute to adjust to a change you've made that's that significant, those moments have often become our very favorite. And in that sense, you should be getting co-writing credits, right? I think that's why producers and engineers,
If you want to say
exactly. I'll send you the 2 cents I get from Spotify. So you can buy a coffee. No, but yeah, but really, truly, like, it is something that makes you really special. But you do it in a way where you present it, and you never force yourself on the music. And I think that's why, we continue to work with you, because, I feel like every decision you've made in that capacity, we've kept and been over the moon thrilled with. But you're just, your job in some ways is more difficult than almost anybody else on the record, because the music at this point is so personal and so close for Ben and I as co-producers. And then you have to kind of get in there. It's not like you're renovating our home, but there's some analogy out there, some metaphor that I think works that I can't think of right now, but it's very intimate in some ways, what you do and how you impact the music. And it is significant too, because you're putting the final touches on the album, and really making it kind of ready for the world, right? So anyway, I would love you to tell folks how they can find you. Tell us the name of your new, did you rename your studio when you moved?
Yeah, this new place is called Secret Door Recording Company.
Ooh, say it one
Yeah,
more time. Secret Door.
Secret Door Recording Company.
Love.
Yeah, and it's yeah, it's a great room. I really we kind of got booted out of the old place after only much too short of a time. Thank you, Toronto developers.
Gentrification. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. But I, really fortunate to find this really great new space. It was already built as a studio by Martin Pilchner
Cool.
20 years ago, so it was a little bit old and worn out. But so we spent a bunch of time, uh, renovating it and just updating everything. I'll give you a little
Give us a
360.
tour.
This is the control room, and we'll see what the lighting's like. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, totally can. This is
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah. So there's we spent a bunch of time, renovating the place, and was able to kind of just move here's my mix rig behind me. I don't know how much
Ooh.
all the analog goodies. Um, and got these beautiful main speakers, which came out of the warehouse in Brian Adams' studio in Vancouver. And they sound incredible.
Nice.
And so I'm just really happy with how this room sounds, and it's just one of the best mix rooms that I've been able to work in ever. So really feel blessed about being able to find that, and yeah, we're just like kind of midtown Toronto.
And what's the
And
website, Tim? Like, where can people find you online?
you can find me at timothyabraham.com or
TimothyAbraham.com. Okay, great.
secretdoorrecording.com.
Fabulous. And we'll make sure we post a link and all that stuff, so you can be found easily. And I have one last question for you. I know you're super busy. Um, I've been asking folks to share their own kind of personal out of dust experience, because I know this is a strange time. We're all sequestered. Now you're used to being sequestered. But I'm still curious, for you and your family, you've got, 2 kids and a beautiful wife. And, do you have any tips that have been working for you guys just in keeping your sanity and all that good stuff?
I think the biggest thing for me is just uh, back to the experience of building a beautiful, nice big studio. The stress, like the less stress of losing that space and having to go through a whole build again, and that was really almost good training for this, in a sense. For
Yeah,
it
sure.
was like, there's just things I can't control, and so
Right.
um, just letting that be and being in that, accepting the emotions that come out of that, but at the same time, I'm not going to worry about those things. I'm going to do what I can do. I'm going to move forward, and so I mean, as that applies to this situation for me, it's like I think we're trying to take it with my family as a blessing, and in some ways, and we're fortunate enough to be in a position where we're not worried about how we're going to put food on the table, at least in the short term.
Right.
And, and so taking it as a time for some calm and some quiet, and a little. I've got 2 teenagers at home who are in the middle of high school, and just Cheryl's a teacher, and so it's like our weeks tend to be very, lots of homework and lots of this and scheduling and running around, and
Yeah.
go to all that kind of stuff. So it's like to actually have a space where we can back off, spend some time as a family. We're getting out. We live close to the beach here in Toronto, so we're able to go
So
for walks with
nice.
the dog and get out. I'm actually getting more exercise because I'm walking to work every day instead of Ubering, and so it's yeah. I'm taking it as a time for space, and um, and togetherness with the family. So the family is now on my schedule, which is like slow mornings. I've been coming into the studio for about noon and then working, and then everybody can kind of stay up a little bit later. So it's I'm just taking those aspects. I mean, there's also lots of stresses. Who wants to go grocery shopping right now?
I know the lines. Oh my gosh, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
being the sense of being around, a lot of people, as opposed to being, in a safe place in your house and
Right.
things like that. So, um, yeah, well, I think right now I'm trying to set things up so that make smart decisions that will put me and my family in a good position down the road a little bit, as far as that goes, but also just being in the moment and letting the calmer, slower pace be a good thing in my life and
Totally.
my family's life, and not trying to, we've got a little bit of a schedule going at home, but we're not like, so the kids are making each of them has to make one dinner a week
Oh,
now.
nice. I love that.
Yeah, so they're, it's like, go look up a recipe, here's the stuff that's in the fridge, um and I'll help you with that. But they're already decent cooks, but it's stuff like that. So it's like
Impressive.
incorporating some learning, but not getting too worried about having, making sure that everybody's very productive all the time. Maybe hopefully that's something in our culture that will people will uh, have this time and go, oh, maybe I don't need to be running around constantly and running on not enough sleep. And you
Yeah,
know I think there'll be some positive things for all of us that come out of this, of readjusted expectations of ourselves and readjusted uh, expectations about um, work-life balance and things like
definitely.
that. So
Great thoughts. I mean, I'm hearing exactly that from a lot of people. And speaking of family time, my own beautiful family is waiting for our one kind of safe, social distanced outdoor moment of the day. We all go for a bike ride at the park just down the road. So I'm going to say thank you, Tim, so much. You really gave Out of Dust like that kind of beautiful finish that it needed, and so much more than that. Like I said, the creative contributions are outstanding. We're excited to mix the next one with you. And yeah, so give my love to your family.
thank
And
you.
I guess it's bye for now until the next one.
Yeah, well, hold on, I'm going to say some nice things about
Oh,
you. It's been going on. And so I thank you so much for having me as part of the team, because I mean, you're so musical, and Ben, you're so kind, and even when you've got things, that you like, oh, well, maybe we'll change that. It's like you do that in a very gentle, like nice way, but you're also very accepting of like, okay, I'm going to sit with this for a minute and let absorb this. And so yeah, it's been a great creative partnership with both you and Ben, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
aw, well, we love you. And Ben was excited for me to talk with you. He was like, "You got to get Tim," and I said, "Oh yeah, it's gonna happen." Thanks for doing it, my friend. You have a good afternoon.
Too.
Okay,
Okay.
bye.
Bye.